Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has been dragged before the United States government over alleged unlawful acquisition of multi-million-dollar properties in Florida. Activist Omoyele Sowore, in a petition dated September 22, 2025, asked the Florida Attorney General James Otumere to prosecute Mr. Wike for alleged money laundering and to initiate for future proceedings against the assets. We have with us here in the studio to help make sense of this, we have Prince Francis Chilaka. He's a political affairs analyst, and we'll also be joined by Honorable Ejiofor Igua, who happens to be former member at Anambra State House of Assembly. He's a politician and also a public affairs analyst. And from Abuja, we'll be joined by Edwin Adai. He is an executive secretary, African Institute for Statecraft International, and also a politician too. And we'll also talk to Honorable Dr. Jude Emeka Omobowale Idumogo. He's in diaspora. He will join us. He happens to be the former member, Lagos State House of Assembly, and he represented Oshodi Isolo constituency too here in Lagos State. Good morning, Prince Francis Chilaka.
Yes, good morning.
Good to have you join today's VOP this morning. Honorable Dr. Jude Emeka Omobowale, good morning, if you can hear me. All right, Honorable Edwin Adai, good morning.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, People's TV. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. Honorable Ejiofor Igua, good morning. Good to have you join today's conversation. All right, Prince Francis, let me start off with you. What do you make of this particular petition by Sowore to the U.S. telling them that they should investigate property acquisition made by, a Nigerian minister, sitting minister? This particular thing, according to what we gathered, was the transaction happening between 2021 and 2023. That was actually what we found this.
I think what Sowore is doing is more like pointing to the fact that he has lost faith in the Nigerian judiciary, because that's where he should start from. But it simply shows you that people feel that the Nigerian judiciary and those who are responsible for monitoring the assets of those who go into public life are not doing their jobs very well. Nigeria is the only country where you see people, when they ask them to declare their assets when they want to get into power, some people will even put what they intend to acquire, because nobody verifies. There are no checks and balances. There's no. We just seem to be running a country where anything goes. So, yes, it's good thing. Let us know how he got the property. Let us know. I know that, yes, we need to also know how rich his in-laws are. Because for you to be able to do such a thing, the in-laws, if you are living in America, we know how the issue of giving out property is. So it means that the in-laws must have quite a number of properties that they have decided to give out some to the family members.
I needed to ask this question because at what point is it that someone acquiring a new mansion or buying a new car now turned out to be unlawful? I don't understand that.
No. We're not saying it's unlawful. What we're saying is that because Nigeria has become a country, found itself where leadership is all about corruption, trust deficit. The people don't trust those who are leading them. So every time you come out and say, oh, you have a new car, everybody's wondering, how did you get the money to buy it? Where is the money coming from? So it brings us back to the question. How much is the governor earning? How much are you earning today as a minister? And then the property we're here was bought in cash. And we know that in America, it's a credit society. So how did you gather that kind of cash? So it is a good thing for us to know. I watched an interview where Wike was being asked the same question, and the impression he gave is that he doesn't know what his family and his wife is doing, which is totally wrong.
When you say he's wrong, before now in Rivers State, I could remember that there was a time a particular man was picked, for questioning over the internal wrangling happening in the state before the declaration of the state of emergency. He gave a different testimony, and the wife was like, "No, this is not my husband." So when you say, which it's wrong for Wike to say, "I don't know what my wife is doing."
Wait, Fina.
All right.
We know how a husband and a wife relates, and we know how a political wife and a political husband relates. In Nigeria, once you become a politician, and your wife automatically becomes another politician. That's why they say the wife of a sergeant in the army is a field marshal. She's in control. And coming back home, where we have an African tradition where the man is the head of the home. So the man automatically is in charge of his family. He should know what happens.
All right. Okay. Let's get Edwin Adai into the conversation. Good morning to you once again. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Is this witch hunting? Like some have said on social media. Some have said, oh, it's because they don't like Wike. He's working in Abuja, and Deji Adeyanju and Sowore are only trying to make news out of this. Well, some Nigerians have also said, why buy property in cash? What are your thoughts, really?
Well, good morning, Nigerians. Actually, I'm beaming live from Jos Plateau State, not Abuja this time around.
Oh, thank you very much for making that correction.
First of all, I would like to say that this is a welcome development. But I'd like to start by saying that he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. You cannot be parading yourself as a champion of democracy. You are parading yourself as a man of integrity. You are parading yourself as one of the transformational leaders we have in Nigeria today. You talk about how you are a man of integrity, you are a man of honor. You talk down on other politicians. You always use words like, it's very unfortunate we are having this crop of leaders in Nigeria manning critical position. Only to find out that, although the publication is not new, with all due respect, the rumor has been ongoing, and some of us were privy to some of this information. But of course, there is no time that is too late for us to probe into, the activities of our politicians who are in government. So I think it's a welcome development. We must begin to question our leaders to really understand and to exactly know how were they able to generate this kind of money. $5 million is not a small money anywhere. Even in America, it's not a small money. Convert that money to Nigerian naira is a whole lot of billions of naira. And therefore, if you're a public office holder and you are transacting, in fact, the process of the transaction alone is questionable. And therefore, I think that is a welcome development. We look forward to see this kind of engagement where critical political office holders are taken to court to give a
all right, taken to court.
What they have been able to acquire,
now,
how they have been able to acquire it, and all of that. And
interesting, you said taken to court. Does it feel out of place that Omoyele Sowore decides to start this court issue from America and not from Nigeria? Does that make you feel some kind of way? Does that point to the fact that he has lost trust in the Nigerian judiciary?
Well, you see, whether you like it or not, let's face the reality. Fortunately and sadly, whether you like it or not, I'm a politician. We live in Nigeria. We understand what is going on in the court right now. Yes, we cannot blame the court holistically, but if we must say it the way it is, I can tell you that a very sizable number of Nigerians, we have lost confidence in the court or in the entire judiciary in Nigeria, which is unfortunate. We saw what happens to Samuel Ekpa in Finland, and we are seeing what is happening to Nnamdi Kanu. We have seen a lot of political cases and the way they treated it. We cannot continue to pride ourselves as champion of democracy, and we are not adhering to the principle of democracy. And one of the principles of democracy is upholding the rule of law. When the laws are not properly working the way it should, when actions don't have consequences, we should be able to try other places if we can get justice from other places. If we don't really trust the fact that the Nigerian court process can give us the kind of verdict that we are looking forward to seeing. Sincerely speaking, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay, you don't see. It's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate that a politician is asking us to outsource our judiciary, to foreigners, and that is what we have seen in recent times go back to Ibori, go back to PIRD and all of that. Okay, thank you very much, Edwin. I would like for you to stay with us. We'll come back to you. Now, let's go to Oka, where we still have where we have been joined by Honorable Ejiofor Egwuatu, who is a former member, Anambra State House of Assembly, politician and public affairs analyst. It's someone that has played around the government, you know. Good morning to you, Honorable Ejiofor Egwuatu.
I greet you especially.
Beautiful, beautiful. Good to see you once again. Now, you have played in government. You have been a member of the House of Assembly.
Yeah.
Now, Wike says that house was acquired by my in-laws and given to my children, my family members. I want us to take that away. You have been a member of the House of Assembly. Do you think that a Nigerian governor, from the perks of office, his salaries, all that he gets, legitimately, should be able to acquire a $2 million mansion in any part of the world? Is there a possibility that with his legitimate earnings as a governor, that he should be able to acquire that kind of apartment?
Well, I wouldn't want to start calculating the legitimate earnings of any Nigerian governor or any Nigerian public officer, but there are facts that are sacred that we need to observe. First of all, there are procedures for declaration of assets, stating whatever you have, where you had it, how you had it. Everything follows a particular process. And then if you are declaring your assets, where you are expected to list everything that you have at every point. So the question we should be asking is, even if this is a gift, this is something that is coming from a very wealthy in-laws, relatively wealthy in-laws, and all the rest of them, they were given to this family, and then you are expected to say this is how it is through a legal process in Nigeria here. So he hasn't told us that he acquired those things from being a governor. So we shouldn't go to that governor's side.
No, exactly the point, Honorable. When I asked you a question, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, Honorable. Excuse me, Honorable. Honorable.
Yes.
I asked you a question.
Yes.
You asked yourself, I answered yourself. You didn't answer the question. Now we understand all of that, the processes, assets declaration. That is not the question I asked. Maybe you don't want to answer the question. The question I asked, do you think that a governor, by his legitimate earnings, perks of office, should be able, we're not talking about Wike now in particular, should be able to acquire a mansion worth $2 million in any part of the world? We are out of Wike now as a governor. You know government, you have been a member. When you make approvals, appropriation, do you think that what a governor receives should be able to get him a $2 million mansion?
It depends on when.
Okay.
It depends on when. Because the rate at dollar is now, it might be too difficult, but whatever. There was a time dollar was almost something close to Naira. So it depends on when.
Okay,
so that's not really the actual thing about this matter that I really want to talk about.
No, I just asked, and you have offered an explanation. You have given an answer. Yes. Now go ahead, sir. Land on your thoughts.
Now, well, what baffles me about this is the other side of it, that is the non-reliance on Nigerian judicial system, Nigerian investigative agencies, and all the rest of them. This is a big problem that we need to tackle as quickly as possible. People at the very low level, not just people who want to question government or question governance or government officials, people at the very low level are losing confidence in the Nigerian investigative agencies, the police, the DSS. They feel that these agencies are being manipulated, and people are resorting to all manner of things, all manner of ways to resolve issues. And this is a very big disadvantage to our democracy. These investigative agencies ought to be as independent as they ought to be, so that the people can have confidence to bring their matters there. It is causing a lot of problems, and it's not just about Wike and the Sowore matter. No. It's about all the people in Nigeria. Most people are losing confidence in the police. People don't feel free to go to police to give information about certain criminals or criminal activities because they think that their bubbles will be busted.
Okay, now Honorable Sowore has taken up the gauntlet. He's gone to the United States of America. Yes. Do you think that something will come out of this? Do you think that something will come out of this? I mean, if he has evidence, he has gone to court in the U.S. What do you think will be the outcome of this investigation, the court case? And
the good thing about the United States judicial system is that they must have a response to it as quickly as they could. They must have a response. It's not as if there's not going to be adjournment and indefinite adjournments without response. So I know that once they present their matters, well, there must be a response to it. We must have a final conclusion. There must be a closure on the whole matter. So we trust that the United States Judiciary will do justice to it.
I'm happy that you say you trust the United States judicial system, that it will do something, they will do justice to this particular case. Now, when you're talking about, I want to get a bit personal, now. Let's get this straight. You as a politician, can you comfortably say that you still have faith in the Nigerian judicial system as a politician?
If I have faith as a person, as a
politician in Nigerian judicial system?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because the Nigerian judicial system has over time, in certain ways, destroyed that confidence that we have in them. And in other ways, in some other matters, they have really tried to be as bold as they ought to be. But generally, it is not a 60% win. They are below average.
Below average. Right. Thank you so much.
Well, some will say it is the politicians that infiltrated the judiciary and made the judiciary what it is today. Well, let's talk. Let me bring you back to Prince Francis Chilaka. Let's talk about the visa ban. Is that enough punitive measure for an alleged corrupt politician, when we know that the properties, of course, and the monies stashed abroad will remain in those economies?
Unfortunately, Nigerians are not learning. The political class are not learning. When I say they're not learning, they keep enriching foreign nations while inflicting pains, poverty, and hunger on their own people. You loot from here, you send it abroad. Don't forget that most times these funds are not even sent in their names. They're sent through proxies. So when you begin to trace it.
So are you now saying, are you alluding to the fact that the family of the wife were basically acting as proxies for the man himself in this case?
Some weeks back, we also heard about land grabbing in Abuja that involved the same man with his family.
Which he has denied.
It doesn't matter whether he denies it or not. Behind every rumor, there's an element of truth. You can't throw that away. So why is it that he is the same person involved? He's involved in the shenanigans that happened in Rivers State. He's involved in land grabbing in Abuja. Now he's involved in property in the US. So something is wrong somewhere. But coming back to your question, visa ban, how many of them want to even go to America? That's the question. How many of them want to go to America? When you have St. Lucia that has been opened up, you have Brazil that has been opened up, you have Colombia. So how many of them want to go to America? Okay. Yes, American government would always come out to say, we will do this, which it's in their own place to do it. It's because it is within their own laws to say you cannot take from your people. But the question is, do they also help to investigate and find out where these funds are kept?
That's the question.
All right then. Well, we've been joined by Honorable Dr. Jude Emeka Omobowale Idumogo. He was a former member, Lagos State House of Assembly, represented Oshodi Solo constituency. And Honorable, I can still call you Honorable, even though you've left us with our problems here in Nigeria. You've gone abroad. Well, thanks for joining the conversation this morning, Honorable Idumogo. Now, you have been in the abroad. You've been in the system there. What is the process? Quickly, if you can, take us through the process of property acquisition, especially when it's done in cash. Shouldn't there be, certain agencies that will, raise eyebrow when such is done? And when those eyebrows are raised and people are fingered, what is done to ensure that those funds are not corrupt funds, and if they are not allowed to remain in those economies?
I joined you late, so please, you can pardon me. Let me follow up what is going on before I can comment. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, the conversation is winding down already, as it is. But we're talking about Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, and the acquisition of properties in America, properties in the name of his 3 children, which he said were acquired by his in-laws and given to his own children. And of course, he's been taken to courts. He's been taken to a U.S. court there by Omoyele Sowore, and he's asked to account for such. That's the conversation.
Okay. Well, the difference, the basic difference between here and there in Nigeria is that here there is no respect of person. The law takes its course here. The law takes its course. If you are indicted, in fact, the truth is that you irrespective of who you are, you go to jail.
How easy is it to acquire properties, especially to the tune of over $500 million in cash?
You must have passed it through some agents. Of course, in everywhere there's always some element, some people who also dare the law, who take the risk, dare the law in whatever they do here. But the issue is, of course, that's why you see the present government, Donald Trump government, is going after a lot of criminal people, people that have criminal tendencies, or those that they know that have actually committed crime that they suspect. So, but the bottom line is, the police are working, other agencies, FBI are working in this place. So the tendency is that when you are, of course, there's crime everywhere, but the difference here is that when you are caught, of course, going through cash is difficult, but people will always there wants to make some profit in everything. When you compare with that, the cash, the money involved also is big. You cannot go through the normal banking system because they will ask questions. They will want to route it through another way. And like you say, we're all human beings. There are people that want to dare the system. But the difference here is that when you are caught, you pay for it. That's just it.
Now, in situations whereby individuals are found wanting, are found to be guilty, do you think a visa ban is enough punitive measure?
Can
you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, you seem to have some sort of distraction there. All right, then. Well, I think you're just waking up because that's what it feels like talking about Honorable Jude Idumogu. Well, let's get back to Edwin Adai in Jos. Now, that's where he's talking to us from. Edwin Adai. Now, how do you see this play out? Is this an exercise in futility and backed upon by Omoyele Sowore, whom some have also said that he's somebody's lapdog? Some have said some individuals, some people abroad are paying him to do the things that he is doing. How do you see this play out?
Well, I think first and foremost, like one of the guests, I just want to align to his thought, because number one, this is an indictment to the anti-graft agency in Nigeria. It is an indictment on all the agencies saddled with the responsibility of doing their due diligence in ensuring that corrupt politicians are exposed. We cannot run a system where, how did we even get to a system where a politician can literally amass that kind of humongous amount of money and then launder that huge amount of money undetected? The word is undetected. The money flew from Nigeria and then landed in America, entered American economy. Even the American government need to be questioned. It is not enough for us to say, oh, it is Nyesom Wike. How did the money, what are the processes, what are the procedures? You and I know that that kind of humongous transaction cannot happen without the aid of the government, without the aid of the banks. And I do not think that the system is so vulnerable, so much so that such transaction will go on without any major agency detecting it. I think it's a thing of concern. It is not enough for us to just beam on Nyesom Wike alone. We must also look at the vulnerability of our economy. We must also look at the vulnerability of our financial institutions. We must also look at the acceptability and the aiding of some of these foreign agencies in helping to launder money from Nigeria to other countries of the world. So this is not about Nyesom Wike alone. We should also question the system. We should also question the American government. We should also question the institution of major banks in Nigeria that aided such transactions. Because Nyesom Wike cannot unilaterally, whether by omission or commission, embark on such a transaction undetected. So for me, it is not enough for us to say, okay, let us look at the pros and cons. But I think it is an eye-opener for us to ask some fundamental questions. And therefore, if Sowore is the person that God wants to use to expose some of this abnormality and some of this vulnerability in our economy and our political system, and also understand, you know, the connections, how, you know, banks and major institutions do illicit business. I think it is a welcome development. For me, it's going to open up a more conversation.
You see, when you said
this thing to be swept under the carpet,
when you
we must
said
do our due diligence in ensuring that this thing does not go down the drain. We must ensure that we do everything humanly possible. The responsibility that this thing does not go down the drain is not on the institutions who are part of it. The responsibility lies on us as citizens of Nigeria.
Okay, us as citizens of Nigeria.
The media,
not too long ago,
to ensure that
yes, that's why we're talking about it.
To the latter.
That's why we're talking about it. Yes, thank you very much for your points there, and that's exactly why we are talking about this. Not too long ago, David Hundeyi, the media online practitioner, investigator, made a revelation. He brought something to the notice of Nigerians, talking about one Habibat Tinubu, said daughter of President Bola Tinubu, who had about a $2.4 million house acquired in her name back in 2014. And, there was a video to that trended some months back. I don't know if you saw that one, but some of those allegations have not been, they've not been verified. So is this any different? The Wike issue now, is it different from that of Habibat Tinubu?
Well, you see, different cases, different scenario, different treatment, and different consequences. I do not believe that there must always be a day, there must always be a time, and I do believe that the level of consciousness in Nigeria today, we are in the generation of AI. Nigerians in the diaspora are literally concerned in what is going on in the country today. And the level of political awareness is growing day by day. So the way conversations are treated in the past, the way cases are dealt with in the past, I do not believe that is going to, be the same going forward. The level of consciousness in Nigeria today is very, very high. And I think that it might be that, yes, Sowore open it up. Other critical stakeholders may wade in. Opposition political party may wade in. Men of conscience will wade in. Civil society organization may wade in. So I do not think that it's going to be a situation where the whole thing will be swept under the carpet.
All right.
The consciousness are very high. So I
right.
think that it's going to be treated differently this time around.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Prince Francis, is this any different? Because at the time, in 2014, when Oyindamola Habibat Tinubu was said to have acquired, or a property acquired in her name was done, she was 22 years old, and there was basically no source of income, you know. But then we saw a $2.4 million house in her name. In fact, there's an address to it for those that would ask, oh, has it been verified? The house, the condominium in New York is located at 255 Hudson Street, Manhattan. That's.
A lot. We talk so much on social media and we just let things die out. We've heard about 730, is it 750 or 730 duplexes in Abuja. It's fizzled out. Nobody's talking about it. So the political class have become so clever that once they know that there's an issue that the people are hampering on, they look for something to diffuse it. And that's why we don't get anything out in this country. We have a country where people do not vote, or people get into office not to serve the people, but to be served. And when you see people who come to office after giving you 5,000, 10,000 rice and all of that, how do you hold them accountable? So we need to, for me, all of this thing boils down to the mindset of the Nigerian people. The election is in one day. That 5,000 you're being given, that 10,000 you're being given, is just for that day. You've been hungry from day one to the last day, and you think you will die on the last day. Right. So Nigerians must wake up and understand that they are responsible for the kind of leaders we have today.